Tuesdays are for troublemakers. That's why
Yes.
we are glad you're here. We're ready to make some trouble, talking about hacked Teslas, Home Depot seeing fewer customers, and people prefer buying cars at a dealership.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know.
Don't believe the hype, Kyle.
They stop and stare when they see me. There's no need to repeat. Watch you fall to your knees.
They get deep on a Tuesday.
Yeah, look. Today's layers of stories across the newsverse have me really excited, intrigued. I think there's some things to draw out of it that are important for
a little
dealers. A little perplexed, yes.
All these
that
adjectives
as well.
that I would just throw into there now.
Oh man, let's
so-
get to it. Hey, look, Paul. I don't want to get into this too much because I'm going to have some jealousy here. Okay, you're going to VCon this week, and I know that we've kind of glanced over this over the last few days and weeks, and you talked about it a while back, and you were like, "I'm going to VCon. I got one of the original NFTs. I'm in." Right, but explain what you're excited about, what you're going to see hopefully this week to the people that may not understand what this whole outside of automotive realm of like conference life looks like.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this on multiple levels. If you don't know, I've been following Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur, and I don't even know how to even label him. He's a force of nature, was in the Vayner Mentors program, so really close relationships with that organization. Well, Gary launched this NFT project to say, I'm going to show everyone how you build community through NFTs. Really educated me on NFTs and crypto as a result. Having a conference called VCon, VEECON.io or .co if you want to look it up. And this is the culmination of this community building in the first stage. If you bought an NFT, you got a ticket to VCon for 3 years. And that's how we got people over the hump to say like, hey, if you buy this NFT and trust me with this, you at least get 3 years at this conference that you trust I'm going to put on. And if you go down the speaker list, your thumb's going to get sore because he's got everybody from Snoop Dogg, right? From Snoop Dogg to like congressman. Really, we have that broad spoke and popular culture. So I'm going to be on the ground there from Thursday to Sunday and just really soaking in what the utility of NFTs and the community around NFTs and looking at one of the most cutting edge conferences that exists. So I'm going to be soaking it all up to, as we do. We're bringing that back to auto. You know it.
Bring it on back. That's right. Yeah, we may or may not be planning something for mid-September that we'll probably take a few cues from what Gary V is doing out there for sure.
Just a few. Already have taken a few cues. So excited about that. I'll try to post on my social channels and try to get some stuff back to Asodu social channels too, because I'm sure there's going to be automotive application there because there's retail application there. So we're going to do that. Don't want to take too much time on that, but yeah, we're excited to be a part of that. Just and bring that into automotive because that's what we do.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can do a segue in the intro host notes. I almost did one, but we could. I guess we can do what we want. It's our show. Automotive news. Want to give some props and thanks to Automotive News. They were named the 2021 Magazine of the Year by the American Society of Business Publication Editors. Right? It sounds like one of those organizations where like people really know what they're doing. And they really do know what they're doing. And they said basically Automotive News was was the best. They gave them the award for, we have a quote from the article. Award was given in the category of publications that produce 12 or more issues per year. So it's a print publication award. They say entrants are judged based on quality of writing, reporting, editing, value of usefulness to the reader, editorial organization, and interaction with readers, as well as layout and design. I think for all of us who rely on Automotive News on a regular basis to keep us informed and read the print version can really appreciate why they got the award. So thanks to Casey Crane and our friends at Automotive News for just doing a stellar job of keeping us all together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you know everything that we do, there's so much that we watch and listen, and they're providing some of that first take news, and that we get to give context and bring to our readership, the podcast, all that. So kudos to that crew.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into this first story, Kyle. This was the lead in our email today, and if you don't get our email, we have an email that we send out every day, Monday through Friday, asotu.com. Subscribe to the email. You won't be disappointed. It might be the best read you have every day. In just a few minutes, you can get a a good smattering of automotive news, culture news, retail news, and some really well curated GIFs and memes, I might add.
That is absolutely
That may
true.
be the biggest reason to get it.
Half the people only get it because they love the gifts. That's it. They don't even read the words.
We'll take it. We'll take it. They know. We always say
no, but the lead was that a research firm, Escalent, who does market research for a bunch of different verticals, did a research study that showed that consumers actually preferred dealerships, which it was like, for me, it was like, wait, what?
do another one.
This is awesome, right?
A 3-stopper.
Well, and this is what was cool is a lot of the research that was done was they were intentional about finding customers that didn't already have experience purchasing from like a brand like from Tesla or from a direct-to-consumer purchase method.
So basically what you're saying is they weeded out the people who are just enthusiasts.
Exactly. Right? Which, if you think about it, a direct-to-consumer purchase model is still a very early adopter purchase model, right? And so you are going to be going after a very segmented portion of the market. And so they intentionally surveyed 80% of people that weren't in that bucket. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important because what you're saying is like, okay, this is more of what consumers are experiencing. And the vice president of Escalent said this: what we found pretty overwhelmingly is that consumers prefer to buy their vehicles from dealerships. They want to do test drives to touch and feel and see vehicles. Look at the macro picture. Quote, ready? Everybody better like key in, listening, write it down, rewind all this stuff. He said, spur on to continue engaging and enhancing and purifying that purchase and ownership experience.
Yeah, keep doing that work. This is a great shot in the arm for everyone who is on the ground and knows this to be true already and might be constantly frustrated with that rhetoric that you hear. Everyone wants to buy online. Everyone's like, I just want to buy it just like I buy a pair of headphones on Amazon. Like, that's just not true.
Right, exactly.
It's just not true.
And look, companies like Amazon, we need to focus Amazon, Apple, Verizon, all of those companies know that there is a value in brick and mortar research and purchasing. And so that's why they're leaning back into them in different ways. Some are succeeding, some are failing. But dealerships have a prime opportunity to continue to succeed in that customer relationship.
It's like we need to make it easy enough to purchase like that if you want to, but know that it's not going to go that way, right? It's like you can still pursue that ease of use, because that's just one less thing that's in the way of a great experience. Speaking of things that are in the way.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
You know, there used to be this thing in the way of you just getting in someone else's car and driving away called a physical key. But a hacker revealed, a good-natured hacker will say, a method to gain entry and start certain Tesla models, specifically Model 3s and certain Model Ys. Would basically, this hack would allow a thief to unlock the vehicle, start it, speed away, according to Sultan Kazim Khan, principal security consultant at Manchester, UK security firm NCC Group, by redirecting communications between a car owner's mobile phone or key fob and the car. Outsiders can fool the system into thinking the owner is located physically near the car, says the Bloomberg News story. They made the hack known to Tesla, right? Like all good hackers, like, hey, we found this out. You need to fix it. Tesla hasn't responded yet. But, you know, so at first, right, the first response is like, I knew it. It's going to be like a scene out of like a, you know, like a spy thriller where you just go up and car unlocks, you get in and drive away.
Yep.
But it turns out the technology is low Bluetooth low energy mode, it's called BLE. And it basically fools the vehicle to think the owner's in the proximity. And it's kind of a problem on just about everything that uses that same technology.
Right. Yeah. So it's not a unique problem. And we've anytime you introduce new technology, and to be clear, this is still fairly new technology, you're gonna run into issues with access, right? And I mean, we're seeing this across any technologies. We're starting to see that, you know, NFTs and blockchain actually have people getting in and starting to mess with, private information and things like that. And so it's just, I think it's a good gap that we're learning from and that others will need to learn from. And manufacturers have to realize that they are not just, vehicle manufacturers, they're data companies. And if they recognize that, have a really, really strong information technology arm, that it's just important. Like, you have to be not just a vehicle manufacturer anymore. You have to be a sound technology company that understands data, understands technology, understands the connected world, and understands everything that a hacker might desire to do with a massive piece of software that's Wi-Fi connected at all times.
I mean,
it's just a whole new world.
Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, like, it's like, oh, they hacked the car, right? It's a little bit shocking news in the beginning. We're like, well, think back in the day, like with old steering columns, and it used to just be really simple. It was like a crowbar and a screwdriver.
Right. Yep.
They sold them.
It's still, I mean, look, like a normal person isn't walking around like, oh, hacked into a Tesla, right? This is still
look, if they're going to
get security consultant at a security firm, right?
Right. They're going to get your Tesla. They're going to get your Tesla, right? At least you'll know where it is. And I'm sure the Tesla people can just shut it down, right? Like lock your iPhone. I'm sure you can lock the Tesla.
You would think so. Yeah.
You would think so. Actually, they don't want to talk about that either. You mean you could just kill the Tesla, like wherever it is? Yeah. And pretty much every other car right now too, by the way. Let's move into some more retail news. Home Depot released their Q1 news, and they said they actually had fewer transactions, 8.2% less transactions, but consumers were spending 11.4% more per ticket, mainly citing rising costs in inflation. So what does this mean for us, Kyle?
Yeah, this means that everybody is selling less things for more money, and like,
which means consumers are buying less things.
Yes, consumers are buying less things. And I think that we're seeing this in the automotive industry. I don't think anybody is kidding themselves that they're crushing record volume numbers right now, especially when thinking about new cars.
Right.
Revenue numbers, exactly. But we're continuing to see this question mark about how that's impacting inflation, how that's impacting consumer sentiment initially. But when you think about everything that Home Depot is, which is for the most part, Home Depot is people doing extra things above and beyond what they typically would. It's not like you don't go to Home Depot to get your groceries, like the regular everyday stuff. You're doing projects, doing additional things. So it means that people are still consuming those additional entertainment or luxury items. And so recognizing that in the market from a retail mindset, that people are still engaged in that type of purchase behavior, but also recognizing that consumer sentiment is continuing to dwindle when high prices are the reality for anything outside of the normal everyday purchase items.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a balance. I still fully haven't reconciled it in my head with the revenue growth still gets people excited about seeing revenue growth. Like Home Depot's stocks were, their shares were like up 4% on the news. I still, and maybe just because I'm not as savvy enough economist, but I still don't see how that's exciting news, right? Less people are walking in the door. They're spending more money, but 11%, like whatever, you want to agree with what the inflation number is, it's around that. Right. Especially if you've tried to buy a piece of plywood, it's a lot more than 8 point whatever percent that's in the news. So it's like, I still don't know how this is going to fall out, but we've been beating this drum a little bit over the last couple of weeks, talking about affordability becoming a front and center issue. And it is, we're just kind of get a pass right now because of supply, but really paying attention to what that is and looking for more ways to save your consumers money, maybe even through partnerships with other local businesses, because this is what the retail indicators are all telling us. So we got one more story, and this is a fun one because it's about a dear friend. So Automotive News featured a good friend of mine who's been a friend for a long time and a friend of Asodu, Greg Ciocco, senior of the Ciocco Automotive or Ciocco dealerships in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, upstate Pennsylvania, and now New Jersey, and talking about acquisitions and dealer consolidation keep rolling. Dealership consolidator Greg Ciocco wants to double his store count to 50 within 5 years. And he says acquisition opportunities are coming fast and furious in today's buy-sell market. I can validate that. There hasn't been a time where I've been in his office where he hasn't been like I'm getting calls every day with people saying, "Hey, would you buy my stores?" He just purchased the country's largest, highest volume Corvette dealership. I think it's in Atlantic City, and
Really?
yeah, and has multiple purchase agreements in action. And really, the story behind this story is just one example. Just saying that 2021 was an insane year for acquisitions. This Auto News article counted 640 stores over the previous high of 463 in 2015.
Nuts. Yeah, and we knew that, and obviously now like everything's kind of falling out and shaking out. But I think we're still seeing that. Most dealers that I talk to that have over 3 or 4 stores, right, are interested in acquisitions. Yeah. And we know that companies like Lithia and Asbury and the majors are continuing to press into that. They've stated it, made it known that they are after consolidation and after acquisition. But these mid-level, I mean, you've got these 20, 25, 30 store groups that are looking to get to that 50 to 70 group size because they recognize the advantage in having a regional impact, creating a brand across a region and, doing things like what Lithia is doing and Asbury are doing with these, national brands regionally. And so I think we're just going to continue to see that advance. And, it's interesting because last year, a lot of the acquisitions were extremely high purchase prices because all of the sellers were excited about being in a seller's market, right? Where they were getting all the money for their stores. And I think the the return's still going to be there long term, but there's a potential during any sort of, this like potential recession that we're headed into in the next 6 to 12 months, actually lowering the value of these and it being a buyer's market. And these buyers that are looking to acquire stores actually acquiring stores quicker because of, an easier access to funds. As the recession hits, interest rates drop again, and all of a sudden you see another wave of this. So I don't think this is going away in the next 3 to 5 years. I think we're going to continue to see an acceleration of consolidation. That's a lot of big words in one sentence.
I had to say that 3 times fast. The article basically says there's a little map. I don't know if we have it to throw up, if we've already put it up. Top states in the acquisition: Texas, California, New York, Colorado, and Florida, in that order, are the top ones. But you can see there's a lot of green on this map. The green is kind of like third. So like you have the reds, most acquisitions, the yellow, second most, and the green, third most. So it's pretty spread out across the country. The publics, we don't have this in the notes, but I think it was like 9 point something billion that the big publics spent on consolidation. And the trend seems to be continuing. And the trend is this: it's get bigger or get out.
Yep.
Right. Most of the acquisitions were actually single store acquisitions, the majority of them, which doesn't, right. It's not a surprise. So, I mean, if you're in this mode, like, you already know this, right? You have to be bigger and savvier to compete at a broader scale. And, hey, there's a lot of resources and people around you, wink, wink, that will help you do that.
Here's my encouragement is to all of those, especially like small to mid-sized groups. As you grow, intentionally focus on support at a corporate level in order to drive home the relationship at a local level. And I think that if those dealership groups, those 15 to 50 store groups, can really understand how to leverage the support at a group level that a group with scale can do, but leverage it to impact locally and keep that local feel, those will be the groups that win in the end.
It reminds me of the bumper sticker, Kyle. Think globally, act locally. Really is it. It really is it. Well, that's it for Tuesday. As if there wasn't enough trouble to be made already. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Sign up for the email, aso2.com, and check us out. All our social media platforms now are kind of on fire.